All I can say, I was a dumbass, voted for Trump.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel where we break down the story that have everyone talking. Today we have got a wide mix of viral TikTok shaking up political conversations. First up, a former Trump voter has gone viral for admitting that casting his vote was the worst decision he ever made, saying he felt pressured, ignored his own doubts and now completely regrets it. Then another TikToker is exposing a hidden immigration issue. Why is one group of undocumented immigrants being demonized while another is ignored? The number will shock you. And finally, Trump's latest comment about Gaza are sparking massive controversy, claims of ethnic cleansing, US military involvement, and a plan that could reshape the region. People are outraged. Stick around as we break it all down, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video.
All I can say, I was a dumbass, voted for Trump only because of my beliefs. People around me encouraged it. I can think for myself, yes. But I felt at the time that was the better choice. Now I'm looking at it with everything going on. It was the worst decision I ever made. I wanted not to vote. But people said you won't be able to have a say in anything if you don't vote. I totally regret this. I shouldn't have voted at all.
That man's not going to see this video, I'm sure, but that's okay because it's really more for people I know, people who follow me. Some of you voted for Trump and you've reached out and expressed fear in what is going on and remorse. Some of you haven't reached out yet. Maybe you won't. Maybe you stand by your decision and you're happy with what's happening. That's fine. It's not my business. My business is over here. But what I can tell you is that a lot of the people that I know personally, because I live in a red area, most of the people I do community work with probably voted for Trump. And that vote is completely out of line with everything that I know about them as a person. And that's because we don't all vote for the same reasons in the same way. There are legitimately some people who their entire vote is really just about firearms, or really just about abortion, or really just about, I don't know, business, right? What's good for business. They truly don't care about any of the other shit. They consider themselves not political. And I guarantee the ones that voted in Trump because he's a businessman and they voted more in the business frame of mind are fucking appalled by what is happening. Because what they failed to anticipate was that what does a businessman do when he comes in possession of a rapidly depreciating asset? He strips it for parts. We're being stripped for parts as a nation and reassembled in a way that better aligns with what global billionaires would like to see out of the United States. So, if you're someone I know that voted for Trump, and if I know you in real life, there's a good chance you did. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. A lot of you kept your votes completely private. It's not my business. That's fine. For those of you that didn't keep your votes private and you very proudly and loudly voted for Trump because you thought he was going to fix all the business stuff that you felt like needed to be fixed, it's okay to be like, hey, that wasn't worth it. My bad. You can talk to me. I'm not going to be mad at you. I understand a whole lot more than you probably would give me credit for. I understand. So, those of you that haven't reached out, if you feel like you need to talk to someone who's not going to fucking judge you for your vote, you can talk to me.
Hey, sir. So all of us libtards, we love that you've come around, but guess the fuck what? It is, 11 years too late now? Because we've been telling you this for 11 fucking years. Since Donald Trump feigned at the possibility of him running for the United States presidency in 2016, when he was joking around about it in end of 2014, we were like, do not vote for this guy. He's a total piece of shit. Look at all of his track records. Government is socialism. It is not a fucking business. And if you run a country as a business, you will collapse every fucking time. I love your sentiment, but if I see you in the street, I might catch a court case because you're that fucking dumb. I mean, Does it take your community to tell you not to drink bleach? For you not to drink bleach from underneath the sink? Does it take that much? Because it doesn't seem like you can even fucking read. So if there was warning labels, would you still be alive today? Because you look fairly old. I'm 40 years old, right? And I've got a lot of gray in my beard. I'm 40. I got a little gray in the sides over here too. But if I were to age, assuming your aging process is similar to mine, I would assume I would look like you because you have a similar length beard and everything. I'd probably look like you when I was about 90. When you worship a demon, that probably ages you a little bit quicker. Thanks for coming around. And if we need help in the future, we might pick up the phone and hit you up. But you have failed us for 11 fucking years. You're going to have to come back on your hands and knees and then elevate back to strictly your knees and talk into a fucking microphone before we ever give you fucking forgiveness.
I know we're in a really bad way, and all of us people who didn't fuck around and don't want to find out are probably going to rip this man to shreds. But somebody who's wishing somebody in their life would say this, please don't. Please don't, because then if we rip them apart and we tear them down, they'll never see that they were wrong. We need to be able to say, thank you for being honest, and now it's time for you to help us fight to get it back. We need the help. Please don't tear him down. Please.
The people in that man's comments insulting him, bullying him, yelling at him, telling, we tried to tell you, you didn't listen, this is your fault, it was abundantly clear. I want to remind you it's not always abundantly clear. Not through the lens of indoctrination with fear-based propaganda. Values targeted, incessant inundation for a lifetime of propaganda. That will skew our vision of reality. That will cause us to block out contradictory information. But divisiveness is the plan to keep us distracted, to keep us from revolting against capitalism, because that's the real villain, and that should be the target, if any, of our frustrations. Judging, bullying, or even being angry with Trump voters, especially ones like him who are expressing remorse and, being humble enough to admit that. Picking on them just proves that you are still very much indoctrinated by the capitalist system yourself. His ability to admit that he has been wrong this whole time kind of puts him closer to waking up to the reality of this corrupt system that has tricked all of us into believing we can vote our way out of it. I just want to encourage anyone who believes they are a member of the more progressive party to remember that empathy is the more progressive approach.
And this is why Democrats need to take media coverage more serious, whether that's on the actual news, or that's on a podcast, or that's on someone's live on TikTok. There are too many areas that are dominated by Republicans for them to get their message across, even though they're lying. There needs to be more fact check on all platforms. I get it. You might have, we might have, but not enough. We also need to stop just listening to what other people say and taking it for 100% fact. Go look it up. Question everything.
Encouraged it. I can think for myself, yes. But I felt at the time that was the better choice. Now I'm looking at it with everything going on. It was the worst decision I ever made. I wanted not to vote. But people said you won't be able to have a say in anything if you don't vote. I totally regret this. I shouldn't have voted at all.
No, you should have done proper research before you voted. But you know now. So your story could help other people wake the fuck up too. People that are just listening to the people around them just like you did. Because they might listen to you. It's too fucking late right now. But make sure in 2026, you're there. On the right fucking side. Okay?
Okay, y'all. I just watched every video on this man's page, and I suggest you go and do the same. The amount of regret that I can see in his face, The amount of awakening that this man is going through, it breaks my heart, for one. For two, like, welcome to the dark side, my guy. But don't be the voice that gets quiet because those around you are loud. Be the one that meets their volume and try to talk some sense into those that you love and you're hoping to save. Just as you directed those voices of reason towards the other side when you aligned with Trump's beliefs. But welcome to the dark side.
Real quick, did you know currently in America we have between 440 to 500,000 undocumented European immigrants? Now, when I say European, I mean they from places lighter than me, and they're lighter than the undocumented immigrants that are currently being demonized by this current administration. The demonized immigrants that also pay almost $100 billion to the government in taxes. Even crazier, even though those undocumented European immigrants barely pay a fraction of what the demonized immigrants pay, none of those European immigrants are being rounded up by ICE agents. None of them. I'm sure it's a good reason. It's gotta be. It can't be the obvious reason I think it is, because that would just be crazy, right? Yo, I'm gonna be real.
America's land grab of Gaza. What happens to Palestinians under this plan? Well, President Trump has suggested he could take the area by force with American troops, and he would turn it into a Riviera. That's the way to bring stability to that part of the Middle East. He says it would involve displacing more than 1 million Palestinians, although there isn't a country in that region that has said they would accept them, and the move would be permanent. At least that's what he suggested. I don't think people should be going back to Gaza, Donald Trump said. They live like hell. Gaza's not a place for people to be living. Although he didn't rule out the idea that some Gazans could return back. But he did make clear he didn't see it as a long-term solution for that entire population. Why would they want to return? He said in a press conference, the place has been hell. Trump ignored a reporter who cried out because it's their home.
He said that we will take over Gaza, America will, and that we will clean it out for Israel, and that we will clear out all the unexploded bombs. So we paid for bombs that killed innocent Palestinians, and now we have to go and clean them out with our soldiers, U.S. citizens, so that the precious Israelis don't die for their own war. Americans died for their war. And then he says we're going to move all of the Palestinians out of Gaza. That's 2.2 million people. First of all, that is literally the definition of ethnic cleansing. Second of all, how are we going to move them out? And you think they're just going to go along with it? Or do you think maybe they might resist that? And if they do, what are we in? We're in the middle of a giant war when he was the anti-war candidate. See, he never meant anti-war.
Alright, so this man on TikTok admitted that voting for Trump was the worst decision of his life. He said he voted because of his beliefs and the people around him who encouraged it. He even admitted that he originally didn't want to vote but was pressured with the classic argument, if you don't vote, you can't complain. Now he regrets it entirely. This is something we have seen before, people voting based on influence rather than their own understanding of policy. And it's clear that with everything going on, he's feeling the weight of that choice. But the real question is, how many other voters feel the same way but just won't admit it? If we look at the policy being rolled out, it's understandable why some people are second-guessing their decisions. The economy, foreign policy, social issues, things hasn't exactly playing out the way many Trump voters expected. Some thought they were voting for a businessman who would fix everything. Now they are seeing rising costs, legal battles, and extreme policy that are making life harder for everyday Americans. But this isn't just another regret, it's also about how political pressure works. A lot of voters, especially in certain communities, feel like they have to vote a certain way because of their family, church, or social circles. That is exactly what this man described. People around him pushed him into it, even though he wasn't sure. And let's be honest, this happens on both sides of the political spectrum. Now let's talk about another TikTok that is exposing something most people don't even think about: undocumented European immigrants. The video points out that there are currently between 400,000 and 500,000 undocumented European immigrants in the US. We are talking about people from places like Iran, the UK, and other lighted skinned countries. Meanwhile, the focus of anti-immigration policy is almost always on Latinos and other non-white immigrant groups. And here's the part that really makes people think. These demoralized immigrants, the ones constantly targeted by ICE, contribute nearly $100 billion in taxes. Meanwhile, undocumented European immigrants barely pay a fraction of that, and yet none of them are getting rounded up by ICE agents. Now, obviously, immigration enforcement is complicated, but you can't ignore the pattern. When people talk about illegal immigration, they are almost always referring to Latinos, even though there is a significant undocumented population from European countries that flies completely under the radar. And then we have the most controversial topic of all: Trump's latest stance on Gaza. A TikTok video is going viral breaking down his statements, and people are not happy. They claim that Trump suggested the US could take over Gaza by force using American troops. He reportedly said that America will clean out for Israel, including clearing unexploded bombs that American tax dollars helped fund in the first place. Let that sink in. The US funded weapons that destroyed Gaza, and now American soldiers may be sent in to clean up the aftermath while Palestinians continue to suffer. The video also points out something even darker. Trump allegedly said the US would move all 2.2 million Palestinians out of Gaza. That is literally the definition of ethnic cleansing. And even that wasn't moral horrifying. How exactly does anyone think that's going to work? Palestinians aren't just going to live willingly. They are going to resist. And what happens when people resist being forcibly removed? War. And that is the irony here. Trump was supposed to be the anti-war candidate, right? But if these claims are true, then he is pushing for direct US involvement in one of the most volatile conflicts in modern history. So what is the reaction to all of this? People are heated. Many conservatives who once backed Trump because they believe he was against unnecessary wars are now questioning everything. Others are saying that this is proof that Trump only cares about certain groups of people and not actual American interests. On the immigration issue, the reaction is mixed. Some people are finally acknowledging the double standard when it comes to undocumented European versus non-white immigrants. Others are trying to dismiss it, saying it's not about race, but the numbers don't lie. And as for the former Trump voter, the responses are all over the place. Some people are applauding him for admitting his mistake, while others are dragging him, saying he should have done his research before voting. The truth is, a lot of voters don't fully research policy before casting their ballots. They vote based on emotion, influence, or single issue concern, and now some of them are realizing the consequences. The big takeaway from all of this: pay attention, question everything, don't just vote because people around you tell you to. Don't fall for political narrative without looking at the facts, and most importantly, don't wait until it's too late to realize the impact of your decisions. Thank you for watching, and let's continue this conversation in the comments below. Let us share our thoughts and perspective with one another. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on the story and more. I will see you in the next video.